First Person Advisors is now a subsidiary of NFP, the fifth largest insurance broker in the world, combining local expertise with access to global capabilities and solutions. Learn more at firstpersonadvisors.com.
Lovenberg wins it. Laughlin is second. Ganassi is third.
Chip Ganassi's drive to the top of the auto racing hill started behind the wheel back in the late 70s, early 80s.
Another serious accident at the Michigan 500. Two cars together. Allenser Jr. and Chip Ganassi.
It ended in 1984 after tangling with Allenser Jr. at the Michigan 500. Ganassi suffered head injuries and would never race full-time again. He did compete in 5 Indianapolis 500s. Best finished 8th in 1983. Then went on to win the greatest spectacle in racing 4 times as a car owner. Last in 2012.
Sato crashes, trying to make the pass for the lead on the final lap of the race.
Dario Franchitti got through that, and Takuma Sato did not. Dario Franchitti, assuming he can keep those hands on the wheel and the fuel holds up, is about to become a 3-time winner at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Nobody hotter than Chip Ganassi Racing and Dario Franchitti, who gets a hug from his father as he celebrates his 3rd victory at the Indianapolis 500-mile race.
A fixture in motorsports for more than 40 years, the only team owner in history to have won Indianapolis, Daytona, the Brickyard 400, Rolex 24 at Daytona, 12 hours of Sebring, and the 24 hours of Le Mans. Join me for a conversation with racing legend Chip Ganassi on this edition of the Business and Beyond podcast. Hello and welcome to the Business and Beyond podcast presented by PNC. I'm Gary Dick. You can't win them all? Well, try telling that to Chip Ganassi.
I had someone drop me a note the other day. They said, "Hey, great job." I said, "Well, we would have rather won the race." And they said, "Well, you can't win them all." And my question is, who said that? Where is that written down? You can't win them all.
Ganassi has experienced the thrill of victory many times over the years. Son of a Pennsylvania construction industry giant, Floyd Ganassi Sr. Yes, Chip is a junior. Given name is Floyd. Chip got his first taste of life in the fast lane while growing up in Pittsburgh. He attended racing school during his high school years, took his first checkered flag at the age of 18. Ganassi left the cockpit in 1990, established his own team, went on to watch his drivers win 4 Indy 500s and 14 IndyCar championships, including titles the last 2 years. He operates just a few miles from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. State-of-the-art race shop is on the northwest side of Indy. And for more on what drives this championship team owner, pleased to be joined by one of the kings of motorsports, Chip Ganassi. And Chip, thanks for joining us, especially the busy month of May.
Hello, Gary. How are you?
I'm great. I know right now you are in Pittsburgh at your corporate address there, but getting ready to pack up as we tape and head to Indianapolis. That's always got to be a really special trip for you, I would assume.
Well, it's the harbinger of spring, if you will. They say baseball is the harbinger of spring, but I got to say, for me, it's coming to Indiana, coming to Indianapolis, and being there for the 500 and everything that goes along with that.
Yeah, and everything that goes along with it these days includes the Indy Grand Prix, which is coming up this weekend. Talk about we're heading into the month of May, competition at the Speedway. How you're feeling about your team and about the month of May in general?
Well, I think we have a lot of momentum coming into May. Obviously, we're at the top of the points right now. We won the championship last year. We won the IndyCar title the last 2 years in a row, in fact, with 2 different drivers, Scott Dixon and Alex Palou. Palou finished second there at Indy last year in a battle with Elio. The last 10 or 12 laps, they went back and forth quite a bit. And so I feel like we have a lot of momentum coming into May. And, we got Jimmy Johnson with us now coming back. And he's going to be on the ovals this year, as you see. And he certainly has plenty of laps around around IMS, and so we're looking forward to it. And Scott Dixon has something to prove there yet, so we have a lot of drivers that are ready. Yeah.
How is it as a team owner? Imagine it's a special feeling. You've got veteran drivers like Scott Dixon, like Jimmy Johnson, new to IndyCar, but a veteran, and then Alex Ballou, and what a talent that guy is. And to see a young guy like that, come up and make an immediate impact, that's got to be a good feeling as an owner.
It really is. I mean, it quite frankly took us a little bit by surprise. I mean, you don't often have guys come along in any sport, for that matter, making, like you say, make an immediate impact, and he's certainly one of them.
There seems to be a buzz. I don't know. Maybe I'm over exaggerating it, but it seems to be a bit of a buzz around IndyCar racing now as we continue with the season and now heading into Indianapolis. How would you assess the state of IndyCar racing as we sit here today in mid-May?
Well, I think I think we're at the beginning of a renaissance period, really. I think, and that renaissance probably started with Roger buying the Speedway and the series. And, I think it was under the stewardship of the Holman George family for many years, and passed it along now to the Penske organization. I think you have that. You have NASCAR going private. I think those two things are going to be the impetus in the United States for a renaissance. And then you have Formula One. They just had a successful event over the weekend in Miami. So I think motorsports is on the uptick. I think it's on the uptick, really.
What's the sponsorship landscape? Obviously, these are tough times economically coming out of the pandemic, and obviously prospects of recession and all those kinds of things. But from a business standpoint, what's the landscape like now for motorsports?
Well, I mean, I think we all came through the pandemic, and things are starting to. We feel like things are starting to free up, loosen up a little bit. People are wanting to come out more. We're going to be back to a full grandstand at the 500, and at the same time, we're looking at headwinds with the economic outlook as of late, with inflation and what have you. But people still want to get out. People want to get out and see events. They've been cooped up at home for too long, and let's face it, companies want to connect with those people in any way they can. And while they're looking for new ways to do it all the time, they're not going to turn the other ear from the largest sporting event in the world.
Yeah, you mentioned Roger Penske, and certainly an iconic moment is his acquisition of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the IndyCar Series. In your view, Chip, can you characterize what that deal means for the Speedway and more broadly for the sport? And as you mentioned, you got a full house. This would be the first time under Penske ownership there's a full house at the Indianapolis 500.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, let's face it, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, whether it's, Eddie Rickenbacker or Tony Hallman or Tony's family or Roger Penske, these are all stewards of a regional asset, a national asset, and certainly a local asset. I think when you're a steward, of course, there's a lot of responsibility that comes along with that. And, it couldn't be in better hands than Roger. I mean, being the automotive mogul that he is, whether it's in his car dealerships, his trucking business, and all the sort of offshoots of that, and the racing, of course. So, I think it's in good hands. I think the state of Indiana, the city of Indianapolis, can be very calm about what's going on there, and very proud. And I think they can look forward to some years of a lot of excitement around IMS. No question.
Yeah. What's your relationship?
To me, the place here. The last thing, I come in from Pittsburgh a lot. When you fly into the international airport there, you come right over the Speedway. And,
yeah.
It just looks different from the air with Roger. Everything's painted up. The grass is cut. Everything's painted, cleaned up. New bathrooms, new coat of paint. I think it's really something special.
Yeah. Hey, what's your relationship with Roger? You've been fierce competitors with him for so many years. What's your relationship like with him?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we both understand that we are fierce competitors when the green flag drops. But I think Monday through Friday, we have an interest in making sure the sport continues to grow.
Yeah. And speaking of that, kind of looking back to the mid '90s and the high-profile split in IndyCar racing with the Indy Racing League, thinking back to that in the mid '90s and what that was all about, you were very vocal in that process, as I remember. Looking back now in hindsight, what did that mean ultimately to the sport to go through that?
Well, I mean, you had a lot of people have a lot of strong opinions about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think first and foremost, I'm glad it's behind us.
Yeah,
I think number one. I mean, I think I think Tony probably had. I think while his heart was in the right place, I think he was a victim of some poor advice maybe along the way at different times. Maybe a cumbersome management team, and it's nothing new in the business world. It happens every day in different companies, and it just so happens this one was in a business that we all care about and we're very passionate about.
Yeah.
So, but I think his heart was in the right place, and just maybe the execution of it was a little lopsided. And I think he got a lot of bad advice. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you consider Tony a friend today?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Many people have said that winning Indy changes your life. And as a 4-time winner, as a team owner, how would you respond to that? How is Indy, winning Indy and being around Indy really, really shaped your life?
It's the simple thing. They refer to you as an Indy 500 winner now. It's there are very few things that they refer to the Pittsburgh Steelers as the Super Bowl winners, or the
right.
When you meet these players, it probably will stick with me from now till my obituary. I would think someday. It's a great thing. It's a great thing. It's a tradition. It's a historical, legendary place, and it's true. It makes legends. Again, just the history and the like I say, pageantry, tradition, history, all these words. We throw those around in today's lexicon, but the fact of the matter is there are very few places like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So I'm honored to be a part of it, and very, very fortunate to have the success there that we've had.
Much more with Chip Ganassi. We'll talk the early years growing up in Pittsburgh, his introduction to racing, doing business in Indiana as well. That's when the Business and Beyond podcast returns.
First Person Advisors is now a subsidiary of National Financial Partners, the 5th largest insurance broker and consultant in the world. Develop your total reward strategies all in one place with the combination of First Person's local expertise and NFP's global resources and integrated solutions. Learn more at firstpersonadvisors.com.
Welcome back to the Business and Beyond podcast presented by PNC. My guest this week, racing icon Chip Ganassi. And Chip, we're talking before the break about your connection, relationship with Pittsburgh. You're a Pittsburgher, grew up there, went to college there. You even, doing some research, were you a part-time owner of the Pirates at one time?
I was, yes.
What was that like?
It was a lot of fun. I mean, we had to keep the team in Pittsburgh here, and Kevin McClatchy came to town, and I was his first partner. and we did a good job of keeping the team here. But it was time to. It was unfortunate. I enjoyed baseball, but the one thing I didn't factor in was how much the two seasons overlap each other.
Oh, yeah.
So that was probably a difficult. That was probably the most difficult thing, and didn't have much downtime. So, but I enjoyed my participation for about 10 years in Major League Baseball, and I think we left it better than we found it.
Good. Hey, what was life like growing up in Pittsburgh? What was your childhood like growing up out in Pittsburgh?
Yeah. It was great, Gary. It was, like to have the, we had a lot of major corporations here at the time.
Right.
I was like any young kid. I thought that my hometown was the center of the earth, and
right.
Just like I'm sure many people in Indianapolis feel. And this Pittsburgh was the birthplace of steel, and we had the Super Steelers in the 70s. We had the World Series Pirates in 1960, and we had the Pirates again in the late 70s. With a World Series championship, and so it was really we in Pittsburgh's a blue collar, hardworking, good work ethic town, and when it comes to our sports, we carry that into our sports. We expect to win, and that ammo of how the Steelers became the Super Steelers or the Pirates played. I think we carry some of that sports DNA in our race team, and so I'm very proud to be from Pittsburgh. But Indianapolis is my second home for sure.
Yeah, so you're doing business. Headquarters, you would consider in Pittsburgh, but you've got a major operation, really a state-of-the-art facility here in Indianapolis as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Just a minor office here in Pittsburgh, but almost 200 people in Indianapolis.
Hey, to talk about doing business in Indiana, and especially not just the business climate, but the business of motorsports here. Dozens, several hundred business or motorsports related businesses are here. Obviously, the Speedway. What are the advantages or the positives, if you will, of doing business in Indiana?
Well, I think you have first of all, you have a welcoming business-minded government. So I think start with that. I mean, and then layer on top of that, you have this community of racing that Indianapolis is the Silicon Valley, if you will, of racing. Certainly, Indianapolis and Charlotte are the two racing areas in the country, and you have a lot of industries that cater to racing and understand racing. Everyone from suppliers, parts suppliers, chassis, engine people, to even to legal counsel or accounting firms and what have you that all understand the industry. I mean, it's not your 9 to 5 5 day a week business, and so it takes a little different understanding of and that's very very understood around the Circle City there.
Yeah,
they get it. Yeah.
Obviously, motorsports is a business, is big business. Where did you get your business acumen, if you will? Was it your dad, who was a very successful, I think, in the construction industry, right?
We were in the sand and gravel business. Yeah, we had a private business, and I worked there from when I was, 14 or 15 years old. And, I certainly got a lot of business help from my father and just being around the business. It was a learning experience from when I was a small child. So certainly I went to college here in Pittsburgh at Duquesne University, but let's just say that my graduate degree was working in the family business.
Very good. Right. And as I understand it, your dad was revered and very well known on the circuit, motorsports. Everybody knew him and loved to see him, right?
Sure. Oh yeah, he had his camera and would take people's pictures and what have you. But he came to Indianapolis in 1963 to an equipment auction, and he took the tour around the track in the bus in 1963, and he came back with a 8mm film of Parnelli winning there, and so that was really the beginning of my racing career there.
Yeah, very good. And talk about how did you get into racing? I mean, what was that entree to really?
Yeah, I mean, it was it was a little bit of that. Did some go-kart racing and motocross, motorcycles, and it was just a natural thing to go into cars. I graduated from Duquesne. I turned 23 and I qualified for the Indianapolis 500 all in a 10-day period.
Wow.
In 1982. Yeah. So it was fastest rookie in 1982.
Wow.
I've been there ever since.
What was that experience like? I can only imagine coming to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
And then, a week out of college. That was a week out of college. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was some pretty heady times, I'll tell you. It was some pretty heady times then. And, racing cars, it was a much different thing then than it is today. And, much more dangerous. Drivers getting killed and getting hurt.
Yeah.
And what have you. So, I mean, it was a different sport. Thank God that we brought in some of the safety initiatives in that have certainly helped the sport become safer and more accessible to many people. And makes it more accessible. I remember a day when women weren't even allowed in the garage area.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You can imagine that. And now we have women throughout the team now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You mentioned the danger, which certainly still exists in the sport, the technology, the safety, all that is tremendous in limiting that, but it still exists. Thinking back to when you started in those earlier years, can you characterize for folks who maybe aren't that familiar with the sport, I mean, how dangerous it was and how you guys were, you were really on the edge. I think most of the time, out there, trying to get those speeds up and those, win some of these races.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and just take 1982, for example. Gordon Smiley was in the qualifying line 3 cars in front of me.
Wow.
So that was a difficult time and a difficult thing to deal with. I mean, it was a different time. And then a week later, we had Jim Hickman pass away, who was the Rookie of the Year in 1982 in Indianapolis. So we had 2 deaths in about 3 weeks, and so that was a difficult time in the sport as well.
Yeah. As you look going forward, and certainly technology innovation part of the sport, I know PNC is a big supporter of your team, and I know PNC and Ganassi Racing are involved in an internship program to get women in motorsports, more women in motorsports, and it's part of something that's happening this month in Indianapolis. Can you talk about that and talk about the importance of getting more women in motorsports and engineering and technical spots in the sport?
Well, like I said, Gary, earlier, I remember the days when women weren't allowed in the garage area in Indianapolis. And now we have women throughout the team, and it's we're trying to drive some gender equality in motorsports, and motorsports it's open to all and inclusive to all people, and you'd be surprised when you have a diverse workforce like that how much innovation that can spark, and I think we've been missing something for a lot of years, so we just want to inspire some young people, young women. Through our work, bring these women in as part of a championship organization, expose them to it, and give them an opportunity to pursue some specialized skills. That's the impetus. Yeah.
Yeah. Chip, what's next for you? I know you're going to be battling for Indy 500 championship, series championship, but any bucket list things out there that you're looking at or want to accomplish here in the next few years?
Well, I don't know, Gary. I mean, I think we just, I'm looking at the next 30 days right now, not the coming years. We're focused on the Indianapolis 500 coming up here at the end of the month, and our total focus is on that right now. And we have So we're looking forward to coming to Indianapolis tomorrow and getting our month of May started.
Well, really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us, Chip. You were a fixture at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're glad to have you back, certainly again this year. So good luck at IMS and throughout the series as well. And again, thanks for joining us.
Okay, great time. See you soon.
All right. And thank you for joining us on this edition of the Business and Beyond podcast presented by PNC. It's a weekly conversation with achievers in business, sports, entertainment, and beyond. And you can download all of our episodes and also get Indiana Business News 24/7. All you have to do is go to InsideIndianaBusiness.com. I'm Gary Dick. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.